Hey there, friends. It's Nick, and this is episode 440. Wow, of the StoryHacker podcast. Welcome. I hope you're good. I want to try and put to bed today this idea that there are people who don't have stories, because it's, maybe not surprisingly, given what I do, it's a comment that I hear quite often. I don't think I really have a story, people will say. And it's just, well, I can only say my experience so far is that it's never been true. Now, look, of course, there are stories at different scales. This year, so far, I've had someone who built a multi-million-dollar tech social company and saw it crash, basically, just as he was about to cash out with his wife. I've had people who've survived cancer. I've had a guy who runs amazing motorcycle trips in Nepal and Tibet and India. I've had people who have big stories to tell, like written on a big canvas. But I've also had the opposite. I've had people who are just quietly building great businesses. And in fact, I'm working with a company at the moment through another client, a digital agency. And one of the things the MD said to me is that, the thing is we're all quite quiet, really. I'm quite quiet, and we just get on with the job. And there was almost an apology in that tone because, he wasn't a transatlantic sailor or a spaceman or, he hadn't, I don't know, whatever, paddled across the Pacific or something. But I think it's really, really important to remember that when we have smaller stories, they can be more powerful, they can be more intimate, they can be more relevant. Because if you think about big stories, big canvases are amazing for getting attention. Yes, if you have done something really extraordinary or had something really, really horrible before you, it will help getting attention. But after that, we still need to get connection. And when we think about how this storytelling stuff works, you've got your story. And yesterday I was talking about the importance of your authentic voice, your tone of voice and your experience and what have you. But when we're writing these business stories, they're not just about us, right? In fact, arguably, they should be more about our clients and our prospects and what have you. And so I'm making a shape with my hands that you can't see, but imagine a kind of a Venn diagram with just two circles in it. On the left we have your story, and on the right we have your particular customer story, the particular person who you might be targeting, or avatar, or whatever. And obviously the magic happens where your story overlaps with their story. That's where we get connection. That's where we create value. That is where sometimes business grows. And I think one of the things to say about big stories, if you watch a kind of a high concept big movie, or a superhero TV show or something, one of the things you see is, because it's high concept, because it's high drama, it's generally also rather shallow. The bullet wounds are all flesh wounds, right? The bad guys who die are just gone. There's no there's never a sense of depth to that kind of thing. And it's partly because when we really need to connect, when we need to step into the shoes of our client and our customer and meet them in the intersection between our story and theirs, we need to get below the surface. We need to be more real, more intimate, more emotional, actually. And one of the things I said to this chap who was sort of apologising about being quiet was that there are businesses out there that need your help. But one of the things they hate is the kind of the loudness of certain kinds of digital people, web people, marketing people, that kind of fake sincerity, that the psychological manipulation that I've talked about before, in kind of copywriting or, whatever it might be, that whole kind of conversion mindset, it won't work for them, not personally and perhaps not professionally either. So sometimes we can make a virtue out of our weaknesses and turn them into strengths. And I know that's a massive cliche, but it's definitely true in stories. It's definitely true because if we tell a good, consistent story, we have the time to really connect with other people. And, we've talked about in the past how we can share our vulnerabilities. And that is one of the ways in which we can build empathy. We can get that oxytocin flowing. Yeah. So I think when people say to me, I don't have a story really, what they're thinking of as a story and what I think of as a story are very different things. Because yes, it's great if you can grab your audience by the scruff of the neck. But even if you can't, you're a person. You've had problems, you've had challenges, you've overcome things. Well, this is the essence of storytelling. The hero is a character, male or female, who overcomes challenges to get something they value. And the act of storytelling is the act of sharing the value of that experience. So if you want to tell a story, go deeper, go smaller. Or alternatively, of course, you can give me a call and I'll spend half an hour and I'll help you find it. In either way, your story can mean business. Thanks for listening. Bye now.